I never thought betrayal could come dressed in the smiles of your own family, the same people who raised you, clothed you, and prayed over your head every morning. But the truth is, sometimes, the ones you trust the most are the ones who carve the deepest wounds into your heart. My name is Adanna, a 27-year-old woman from Enugu, Nigeria. If you've ever been forced to sacrifice something precious for the so-called good of the family, you might understand my pain. But if you haven't, let me take you into my world, the world where my parents forced me to give up the only inheritance my late grandmother left me, just so my younger sister could marry rich. At first, I thought it was just another family dispute, one of those quarrels that would end after tears and apologies. But what unfolded was far darker, something that tore apart everything I believed in, including love itself. This story isn't just about inheritance. It's about greed, favoritism, betrayal, and the haunting realization that money has the power to make blood run cold. Growing up, I was the quiet one, the child who always blended into the background. My younger sister, Nkem, on the other hand, was the star of the family. She was beautiful in that flawless, magazine cover way, skin smooth like chocolate, eyes that sparkled mischief, and a smile that could melt anyone's heart. But beauty wasn't her only weapon, she was also cunning. She knew how to get what she wanted from our parents with a tilt of her head and a few crocodile tears. I remember when I was 15 and wanted to join a science competition in Lagos. My father told me, Adanna, focus on chores. Let Nkem represent the family, she has charisma. Nkem wasn't even interested in science, but she got the chance anyway. My mother always said, Nkem must marry well. She has the face and grace for it. You, Adanna, you are strong, you can build your own life. Their words seemed harmless at the time, but they planted seeds of bitterness I didn't even realize were growing until much later. When my grandmother passed away, I was devastated. She was the only one who ever made me feel seen, who believed I was just as important as Nkem. At the reading of her will, I sat nervously beside my parents. The lawyer's voice echoed through the room. To my beloved granddaughter, Adanna, I leave my farmland in Nsukka, the one where we spent countless evenings together under the orange trees. May it always remind you that you are the apple of my eye. I remember my hands trembling. The farmland wasn't just land, it was wealth, legacy, and a symbol of her love. Nkem, of course, was left jewelry and a modest sum of money. My grandmother had been deliberate, she wanted me to have something tangible, something lasting. But from the moment we left the lawyer's office, I knew peace was about to shatter. My parents' faces were stiff, unreadable. At dinner that night, my father cleared his throat and said, Adanna, you know Nkem is preparing for marriage. Chief Obiora's family has requested a strong dowry. We need that land to sell. Your grandmother may have given it to you, but we are asking you to give it up, for your sister's future, for the family's name. I nearly dropped my spoon. Papa, no. That land is all I have left of Mama Grace. It's mine. Why must it always be me who sacrifices? My mother's voice came cold and sharp. Don't be selfish, Adanna. Your sister has a chance to secure her life with wealth and comfort. What do you have to lose? You're already engaged to Chaik, and he is hardworking. You will survive. But Nkem's marriage will uplift this entire family. I looked at Nkem. She didn't even flinch. She just smirked slightly, sipping her juice like this was the outcome she expected all along. For weeks, the pressure was relentless. My father would remind me every morning. A good daughter doesn't hold back when her family needs her. My mother stopped speaking to me altogether unless it was about the inheritance. Nkem avoided me, but I'd catch her whispering with Mama late at night. Even Chaik, my fiancé, noticed the tension. One evening, as we sat under the mango tree outside his compound, I poured out my heart. They want me to give the land to Nkem so she can marry Chief Obiora's son, I said, tears burning my eyes. Chaik held my hand firmly. Adanna, you can't let them bully you. That land is your right. And besides, why must Nkem marry rich when she can work for her own life? His words comforted me, but they also sparked a fear I couldn't shake. Would he stand with me when the family war truly erupted? One Friday night, my parents called a family meeting. Nkem sat beside them, dressed elegantly as though she was already a chief's wife. "Adanna," my father said, "we've spoken enough. Either you hand over the deed to the Nsaka farmland, or you will no longer be part of this family. We cannot let one stubborn child ruin our future." My heart pounded. They were cutting me off, disowning me, over land. Before I could answer, Nkem leaned forward. "Sister, please, don't be wicked. You know Chief Obiora's son is ready to marry me. Why would you deny me happiness? If you really love me, you will do this for me." The room fell silent. Everyone's eyes burned into me. My father's, full of anger. My mother's, cold with disappointment. Nkem's, smug with expectation. Finally, I whispered, "Fine. Take it. But don't ever ask me for anything again." The victory in Nkem's smile was like a dagger through my chest. Weeks later, I tried to move on with Chaik. He was my anchor, the only one who reminded me I wasn't insane for feeling robbed. But one evening, as I returned from the market, I overheard voices in our compound. My heart froze when I recognized them, Nkem and Chaik. Curiosity and fear drove me closer. I hid behind the wall as their words cut through me like fire. "Don't worry, Nkem," Chaik said softly. "I only courted Adanna to get close to the family. It's you I've wanted all along. Now that you'll be married to Obiora's son, we can arrange our own little secrets." Nkem giggled, that high-pitched laugh I had grown to despise. "You're wicked, Chaik. But I like it." The ground beneath me seemed to shift. My fiancé, the man I trusted with my soul, was in love with my sister. And worse, he was plotting behind my back. I wanted to scream, to confront them, but my body betrayed me. I stood frozen, trembling, while tears blinded my eyes. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, every piece of my life shattered. My parents had taken my inheritance. My sister had stolen my dignity. And my fiancé, my Chaik, wasn't mine at all. But as I closed my eyes, one thought grew stronger and darker within me. If this was the life they had chosen for me, then I would choose my own path. And my path would not be silent. This was only the beginning of a storm that none of them could ever imagine. The morning after my world collapsed, I woke up with swollen eyes and a heart heavy with rage. For the first time in my life, I felt completely alone, betrayed not just by blood, but by love itself. At breakfast, the house buzzed with excitement. My parents discussed the upcoming introduction ceremony for Nkem and Chief Obiora's son. My mother's eyes glowed with pride as though Nkem's marriage would crown her as the most successful mother in the village. Nobody noticed my silence. Nobody cared that I was choking on the bitterness in my chest. But I noticed something, Chaik. He was there, seated confidently among them, laughing as though he belonged to their world now. My father even praised him, calling him a trustworthy young man who was helping to arrange logistics for Nkem's wedding. Every word was like salt rubbed into my wounds. My fiancé was now assisting in my sister's marriage. The real humiliation came 3 days later. I was sent to deliver a basket of yam and palm oil to Chief Obiora's compound as part of the pre-wedding tradition. When I arrived, I saw Nkem and Chaik standing too close under the mango tree, their laughter carrying in the wind. "Ah, Adanna," Nkem said, her eyes twinkling with mockery. "Thank you for bringing the gifts. You see, you are already part of this union, whether you like it or not." Chaik didn't even flinch. He just smiled at me, his eyes holding no trace of guilt. I dropped the basket at their feet and walked away, but the sting of betrayal burned deeper than ever. That night, as I sat in my room, my cousin Ifioma came to me. She was the only one who still spoke kindly to me in the family. Closing the door behind her, she whispered, "Adanna, be careful." I overheard Nkem and Mama talking. They plan to cut you off completely after the wedding. They want to transfer even your name out of the family documents. My blood ran cold. But why? I already gave them the land. Fiona shook her head. It's not about the land anymore. It's about removing you as a threat. With Chike in their corner, they don't want you anywhere near their reputation. The betrayal was deeper than I imagined. It wasn't just about inheritance or marriage. It was about erasing me completely. The final blow came on the day of Nkem's wine-carrying ceremony. The compound was filled with music, drumming, and dancing. Guests praised Nkem's beauty as she prepared to be handed over to Obiora's wealthy son. I stood in the corner, watching the celebration, my soul trembling. Then came the shock. During the ceremony, Chike boldly walked up to the elders and declared, "With all respect, I must confess. I have been in love with Nkem, not Adanna. I wish to marry her instead, if the families will permit." Gasps filled the air. My mother clasped her hands in mock surprise, while my father nodded gravely as if he had known all along. "And Nkem?" She simply smiled and lowered her gaze shyly, as though she were a bride caught in a sweet scandal. The elders murmured, but instead of outrage, many of them laughed. Two sisters fighting over one man? Ah, this must be settled peacefully. My humiliation was complete. They had stolen my inheritance, my fiancé, and now they wanted my very identity erased. But as I stood there, something inside me hardened. I realized they wanted me broken, silenced, erased. But they had underestimated me. They thought I was weak. They thought I was powerless. But I knew something they didn't: secrets buried in Nsukka, on that farmland they stole from me. Secrets my grandmother once whispered to me about the land's hidden worth. And I was going to use it. The stage is now set. Adanna is no longer just a victim, she's preparing to fight back in ways her family could never expect. The night after Nkem's wine-carrying ceremony, I left the compound quietly and went back to Nsukka. My grandmother's farmland still bore the scars of betrayal: the trees, the soil, the air itself seemed to carry her memory. But it also carried something else: truth. I remembered her words, whispered one evening while we sat beneath the orange trees. "Adanna, this land is not just soil. It holds oil beneath it, wealth that can feed generations. But never tell anyone unless they see you as nothing. Then, you must use it to rise." For years, I had dismissed it as an old woman's parable. But now, I understood. I contacted a trusted family friend, an elderly surveyor who owed my grandmother a favor. After discreet testing, he confirmed what she had said: beneath that land was crude oil. The farmland wasn't just valuable, it was a gold mine. Within months, news spread across the village that the Nsukka land, which my parents had hurriedly sold to Chief Obiora for dowry, was sitting on black gold. The Obiora family wasted no time. They registered ownership, partnered with investors, and began preparing for drilling. My parents were left with nothing but the little money from the rushed sale. They had traded a fortune for a quick marriage alliance. As the truth unraveled, the entire community mocked them. My father, once respected, could barely leave the house without hearing, "Ah, Chief Obiora fooled you, oh." And Nkem? Her so-called wealthy marriage turned sour quickly. The Obiora family, realizing they had gotten the true prize from the land, no longer treated her like a queen. She became nothing more than a decorative wife, tolerated but not cherished. And Chike, the man who betrayed me, was discarded like rubbish. The Obioras had no place for him in their grand plans. He became a laughingstock, the man who chose greed over loyalty, only to end up with nothing. Meanwhile, I had built my own path. I found work in Enugu City, far from the poisonous grip of my family. Slowly, I started saving, investing, and building my life. I refused to cling to bitterness; it would have destroyed me. Still, I couldn't help but feel a quiet satisfaction whenever I heard whispers of my family's downfall. The same parents who once called me selfish now lived with the shame of their greed. Years later, people began to see me differently. Not as the forgotten daughter, not as the victim, but as the one who survived. One afternoon, after years of silence, my father came to visit me in Enugu. His once strong frame was frail, his eyes heavy with regret. "Adanna," he said softly, "I wronged you. We wronged you. In our greed to secure one daughter's future, we destroyed everything. Forgive us." For a long time, I stared at him. The pain of the past still lived in me, but I also knew holding on to it would chain me forever. "I forgave you long ago," I whispered, though my voice trembled. "But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. I will never forget what you took from me." He bowed his head, tears glistening in his eyes. Looking back, I realized something painful but true: blood alone does not guarantee love. Family can betray you, lovers can deceive you, but your strength, your resilience, is yours alone. My inheritance was stolen, my fiancé betrayed me, and my parents abandoned me. Yet, in losing everything, I found myself. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: greed may win for a moment, but truth always outlives it. And sometimes, the greatest revenge is not in destroying those who hurt you, it's in living well despite them.